There's Masters. Great chance here. That does it. Steve McGavin. And for the first time, Colchester United have won a major final.
Still Garcia, finally the company arrives and it's in! It's a freak-out goal from Ricardo Carvalho. Richard Garcia wants the credit and the shock is on at the bridge.
And it's promotion for Colchester United. They've made it into the Championship for the first time in 69 years.
Porter, being held, there is Porter, and that's Walker!
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Barside, the podcast that follows everything Colchester United. I am Aaron J. Just like to start by saying a huge thank you to those who are tuning in on Apple, Spotify and YouTube. You're doing us a huge favour there, but no bigger favour than those who are sharing and commenting on the podcast on the various social media platforms. You are helping get the word out to as many U's fans as possible. And the U's come off a 1-1 draw away at Barnet and then followed that up with a win away at Wycombe Wanderers in the Pizza Virtue Car Insurance Trophy thing. And we head in to Crewe Alexandra, which, I don't know, who knows which way that result will go. But I joined up with Si and Dave to reflect on the Barnet game immediately after the action. Hope you enjoy it. Come back to Beyond the Barside. I'm joined by Si and Dave, and we are post-Barnet. The U's drew 1-1 away at the Hive, which is one of the more interesting grounds that I think we've been to.
Very odd place to watch football.
Three-sided ground. Not many of them around anymore, are there?
2.5 sides, I'd say.
Yeah,
It's one of them. Yeah, it was like four rows, which mostly counted of dugouts, or if you call them dugouts, and some sort of conference centre.
Yeah, they had a wedding on at the same time, didn't they?
Yeah,
they did. Yeah.
Also mental. It's like,
Could you imagine getting married while Cole you were playing? I mean, it's the dream, really, isn't it?
no, you got to watch. They get married up. Get married at 1 o'clock. Watch the game and go to reception in the evening.
There you go. You've got it all set up. If anyone fancies doing that, get in touch with the club. I'm sure they'll sort it out. It's been a bit of an interesting week for Colchester. I'm going to start sort of the day before, just to sort of build into the mood and the tone of the game. We sign Harvey, now forgive the pronunciation, Araujo?
I think Araujo. I think we'll go with that.
Those lines. They're like young.
Could be Araujo, but I'm thinking Harvey Araujo sounds the most professional, or sounds most like a footballer.
Yeah.
On loan from Fulham for the season, left-sided centre-half, played for Chesterfield last season on loan. Chesterfield fans were quite glowing about him. They said that he was a half-decent prospect. It seems like a good coup for Colchester, albeit a surprising one, given that, Flanagan and Tucker aren't getting dropped anytime soon. We've got Baldwin in that position as well. But Danny is keen to have a left-footed player playing that left-sided centre-back role. He also said that he can play full-back too, so that potentially provides cover while Ellis is out as well. So by all accounts, a really good signing. So that was the first bit of positivity going into the game. But obviously the second one and the main one, Danny and Nicky re-signed contract extension for 2028. Dave, do you want to get us started on that?
Oh, well, it just came out of nowhere. And we spoke about it in the previous pod about, there are people online who seem to be convinced. We know the online discourse, the worst possible thing is always going to happen imminently. But they were convinced that they were going to walk. It came out of nowhere. It was the most positive signing we could have made, I think. In this window or any window, they're our biggest asset. They're the guys we wanted. They're the guys we got. They are performing. what they've done for the club and the relationship with us, and just the general positivity around the place. Yeah, it's such a positive.
Yeah, definitely. So, anything to add, mate?
I think it bodes well for the future, because we've gone from the negativity, oh no, we haven't got a budget, we're not getting taken over, the Cowley's going to leave, to them cement their future. And let's be fair, excuse me, they're not going to sign a 3-year deal without knowing what's going on in the background and what's going on in the future. They must feel that the project's going to be moving forward. They're the people to take it forward. And on the horizon, club is looking to be bought and move forward. So I think it all bodes well for the future. So fingers crossed. Well, I was only a bit worried that they were going to give us that news and in the background sort of tell us someone left, but did it like really quietly, no one noticed, and try and paper it over. But that hasn't happened. So,
Hasn't happened yet. Obviously, we've still got the window to shut at time of recording. There were rumours in the week of Jack Payne going to Burton Albion. That hasn't materialised as of yet. So generally, going into the Barnet game, the mood was quite positive. New signing, we've kept hold of arguably our best player, and the Cowleys have signed the extension. And I think that extended into the first sort of 10 minutes or so, where the U's came out the traps quite well. We applied pressure, we were positive, we were direct, we were clever with our patterns of play at times as well. And it all sort of amalgamated in this neat little finish from Jack Tucker after about 9 minutes. Si, what were your views of the goal and how we started?
So we started off really what Danny wants. So we were on the front foot, the intensity was high. It probably helped that they took the kickoff, so we weren't knocking it out for goal kicks. First minute, so down on it, doesn't it? The goal was, what I liked about the goal was the fact that it was pinging around the box. It's come out on the edge of the box, and instead of trying to play it safe, squaring it across to say Payne or Bishop, who was still there, he decided, try his luck, had his shot, hit it really well, it went in. These are the sort of half chances that we've been harped on about for weeks, saying we've got to take, because you don't know what's going to come from them, whether it's a goal or corner, deflection or whatever. And the fact that he did that for not only evaluates what we've been saying, once he put us in the lead, then obviously we had a lot more possession, huffed and puffed a lot with the ball, but we just weren't clinical enough and just could not get that second goal. And that's what, I know we'll come on to it later, but I think that's what we've got to improve. We've got to capitalise while we're on top.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we clock watch, and we're trying to run the clock down, and then sadly it just didn't work. I think if we'd have got that second goal, if Jack Payne's effort had gone in, that'd been spectacular. I think game off, and it'd been a different scoreline from then on. So very, very good 30, 40 minutes, just went down a little bit there.
Yeah, and we'll get on to that Jack Payne effort. I thought Tavide, particularly in the first half, did a very good job of initiating that high press from Colchester's attack. Particularly, they passed the ball back to Kieran Slicker in the Barnet goal quite a few times in the first half, and Sampson closed off his angles quite quickly every time, which did lead to Slicker making a few mistakes in his kicking. His distribution was a bit all over the place, one of which led to Payne getting the ball with Slicker off his line, and that gave us an opportunity to get a shot on target. In the end, quite a good save from Kieran Slicker, but you know, we huffed, we puffed, we didn't get the second goal, and then we go in feeling quite positive, 1-0 up, but second half we were pegged back quite a bit. Would you say, Dave?
Yeah, and it was most disappointing because I think we invited it on ourselves, and I don't think it's certain, like you said, Si, the first 20 minutes were exactly what Danny Cowley wants. It's a Cowley team. The second half, I don't think was, and I don't think you could sense he was a bit frustrated with that after the game because we just didn't manage the game very well. We didn't retain possession as well as we'd done, and we started to use Tavide differently, I think. And I don't think, again, I think the subconscious of wanting to hold on to a lead, because in the first 20 minutes, and like you alluded to, Aaron, I thought actually showed a little bit of development in Samson's game. There were 2 or 3 occasions where we got into his feet, held off a defender, and brought other players into play. I mean, in the second minute, Powell had a great chance, laid in by Savile doing that. He arguably should have scored. And that didn't happen again for Powell getting forward into the box, which is another sort of thing we probably should have worked on in the second half. Samson also did the same for a couple of chances for Jack Payne, but in the second half, excuse me. In the second half, we sort of went to sort of, right, let's stick it in the mixer to Samson to hopefully chase down and put him under pressure. And, you know, for all the will in the world, that's only going to be successful in so many occasions, and invite pressure onto us. And it sort of, as the game went on, we had a couple of breaks, a couple of opportunities maybe to do something a bit better, but didn't really take them. And then we started playing almost without thought as to how we could control the game. And that's ultimately what brought them onto us. I mean, and someone on X, sorry, I can't remember their name. Hopefully, if they're listening, you know who you are. Made a good point with regards to the genesis of the equaliser. It was about 2 minutes before that, maybe even a little bit longer, where Dominic Gate, an experienced player, got the ball in a decent amount of space in the middle of our half, under no real pressure, and just kicked for territory. With no real aim. It wasn't even in the vicinity of Lisby. It was on at that point. And good teams keep the ball in that situation. They want to retain control with the ball. And I think we can do that. We have the players on the pitch to do that. And then, from then, unfortunately, the goal comes directly from Jack Payne miscontrolling the ball. A relatively simple touch for him. It's just not. It's got away from him, and they've worked it well, to be fair. But down that left, where I think we did have a few problems on Saturday, and we've ultimately, I think it was a fair result. I think they deserved it for how they penned us back, and we're going back to. And so I still see on social media a lot of people pining, yearning for Lyle Taylor. Now, ultimately, we're not going to hash it out again. The situation worked out ultimately best for him and best for the club. I think what's where he is now. But what he did bring to the team, what he mainly would have been signed on for, is that sort of leadership and nous experience, whatever you want to call it. And if you look at who wasn't on the pitch on Saturday, we didn't have him, we didn't have Kelleher, and we didn't have Ellis. Now, obviously, Ellis is going to come back, hopefully sooner rather than later. But that is a big miss. And I think one thing we haven't managed to quite replace is those leadership qualities. Flanagan, he's not a particularly vocal captain. He's sort of a captain that tries to lead by example. And I don't really see any other real standout candidates, to be honest, for captaincy. A lot of players do have that sort of demeanour where they're it's more action rather than organisation. So I think, that's something Danny will be looking for in the next 22 hours at time of recording.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with everything you said there, particularly the left-hand side. Barnet equalise really late on, take the wind out of our sails. Ex-U's prospect Danny Collins nicks a point. You would have assumed it would have been Ollie Kensdale given his form, but it was Collins. And the goal came from the left-hand side. We were talking sort of before the recording about how I felt that Aurora Edwards did quite a good defensive work when he was on the pitch, covered Powell quite well and offered that protection. Adrian Akande comes on for Aurora Edwards. He didn't track his man. That did lead to Powell being sort of overloaded a little bit. The goal comes down Powell's side. and it's an easy finish, really. It's certainly a preventable goal, would you say, Si?
Oh, definitely. I think there's two key moments in the game where we handed them the initiative. First one being in the first half when Southampton tried to close their goal down and then went down like he's been shot.
Yeah.
That gave them the chance to regroup. Obviously, everyone went over to the sidelines. They then changed their formation. I think it is from then on we then struggled to really keep our momentum going forward. And then, the second one was the goal. Like Dave said, we lost the ball midfield. But because I think Kende didn't track his man back or wasn't sure what man he should have been tracking back, this then led the overload on Powell. Powell's then got to make a decision whether to go to the player or step off the player. You could argue whichever one he does, he should have done the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
He's got caught in no man's land. They've got the overlap. The ball's then been squared back and obviously finished off with a decent finish, to be fair to the lad. So I think that we were the masters of our own downfall yet again. And this is what is so frustrating watching it. We can all see it. We can see it's coming. I think Dave put that chat during the game, left-hand side.
Yeah.
We can all see it. I think sometimes our game management needs to be improved, and people on the pitch, if they can see we're getting overloaded, that's where the captains needs to be sort of, more into it. Like, you've got to track, you've got to get back, drop in, where to go, where, and try and guide the players around, which we're lacking. So people also say, yeah, it's brilliant. We draw your away games, win your home games. We just got to start winning our home games.
Yeah. It's interesting because Danny's sort of post-match interview alluded to that we're unbeaten away from home. We draw in our games. Our away form, if it's strong throughout the season, bodes really well for sort of where we end up towards the end of the year. But he said, Dave, that we play to the scoreboard rather than play to our principles.
Yeah.
And I think that's fairly fair to say, do you think?
Yeah, I think that's actually really, really good way of putting it, insofar as, we played like, not meaning to pick him out, but what Dominic Gape did with that ball, rather than just play football, play what you can do, going for territory with that's, if it's 90 plus 7, fine, just get out their end, get 20 extra seconds off the clock. But when you're 1-0 up, you've got we still had, Jack Payne was still on the pitch, Arthur Reed was still on the pitch, technicians on the pitch, they all keep the ball, and we had the pace of Lisby again, if that's available. Just play the game. But yeah, it felt, again, it goes back to leadership. I think it felt almost panicked.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't need to feel panicked, and I think if we go back, at the end of the day, we are still unbeaten away from home. We've got a point against a decent team. I saw a couple of people say, Barnet are terrible. Barnet aren't terrible.
I thought they were decent.
Barnet sorry, Aaron.
I thought Kanu on the left-hand side
the number
was
11?
Quality, mate. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
and he played about 3 different positions throughout the game.
And yeah, the guy that scored, I didn't realise he was used to be on, whether it was a youth prospect or whatever with us, or just...
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, either you two can or someone in the comments, I'm sure will. We got him from Stuttgart. He joined us from Stuttgart.
Oh, really?
And was part of our sort of youth setup. I also feel that he was at Braintree too.
Okay, but no, I was impressed
with him. He's done the rounds.
Well.
He's sort of built himself back up into the Football League, as a lot of the team for Barnet has, obviously with Ollie Kinsdale being another. But yeah,
they're a good team. They got so those 2 players. So at League 2, you kind of need solidity, and then 1 or 2 flair players who can sort of do something out of nothing, which we have. We just need to get that solidity back, I think. And I think if we go, and I was talking about positives. Jack Tucker again, absolutely fantastic,
quality,
great. What a finish! Absolutely fantastic. Rob Hunt, I thought, had his best game for us.
Yep.
Really strong defensively. Flanagan dealt with the big Hawkins, I think it was up front.
Ollie Hawkins of. He's played for a few clubs himself, isn't he, Ollie Hawkins? So he's an experienced player. He knows how to play the game. Flanagan kept him quiet pretty much throughout his time on the pitch.
Yeah, he did. I thought Jack Payne again played with real intent and energy.
Yeah, his energy, and particularly in the first half, some of the things he created,
Yeah,
and
really
his
good.
movement with the ball when he was travelling with the ball, he was sort of weaving in and out that sort of. He was veering towards the right hand side and then cutting in central. They couldn't deal with it. I mean,
Because he's rolled his socks down now.
Is that why?
Since he's done that, he's gone to another level.
He's turned into Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think a lot of the can't obviously know we're trying to be positive here, but a lot of our issues, even what we're saying here, stem from the fact we have not got a defensive midfielder. There's too much of that.
Yeah.
And again, no sport on Saturday. I think or if we'd have had one of those, and
I really thought Gape would start. So you called it, Si, that he would keep it the same. And again, it goes the first 20 minutes, we were flying.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Anderson came in and didn't necessarily produce with the ball, but what he did for the system, you could really see.
Yeah.
I don't think it probably isn't a coincidence that Hunt played so well, having Anderson in front of him. But yeah, I mean, to go to the issues we had, I thought the left-hand side, and I was actually going to say, agree with what you said, Aaron. I thought without the ball, Edwards was good. I thought he tracked his man well. He really put in a shift.
Yeah.
However,
I
think we've done our best not to say it. I think we've done our best to say, oh, we know what he can produce. We've said, it will come good. But he was poor.
I think the other team now knows what he can produce, and they've now figured out how to neutralise the threat of Aurora Edwards. They know that if they can limit him driving down that sort of left-hand side, if they can put two people on him, they sort of neutralise the threat.
Maybe.
Kind of play devil's advocate a little bit here and say, let's wait until if he's still with us on Saturday. Let's give him a game once windows closed and see if we see a different player.
I don't know. I think there's a confidence issue as well, and I don't know if you two noticed this. It happened sort of in front of directly where I was sitting, sort of to the right hand side of the goal. There was a moment I mentioned in the last pod that if you just watched the game from his at the end of last season and one of the first 5 games, you'd think he was carrying injury. You'd think he'd lost half a yard of pace. And there was a bit where he was chasing the ball over the top in the first half coming towards us. And both defenders clawed back 3 yards at him and got there ahead of him. And I think that's a worry. If for me, he's not getting that separation with the ball. I think the fact, if a player isn't, if they're not delivering the final ball or they're not making the right decisions, that's arguably a form thing that can be worked on. That just needs a catalyst and they're back on it. But when he seems limited physically to me, just from knowing what he can do. I don't know if you two agree or think it might be something else, but something doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I think you've both raised really good points there, whether it's a case of confidence, whether he's carrying a knock or is dealing with the consequences of an injury, or whether the speculation around his future is weighing heavy on his mind and therefore his game. I think they're all perfectly valid reasons for sort of what we're seeing with Aurora Edwards. But just to round it off, we've gained a point away from home. That's great. We want to be going away from home and not losing and getting points on the board. I personally, I think it feels like 2 points lost rather than a point gained, just purely for how long we were leading that game. We could have extended our lead multiple times. We didn't. We lacked that clinical edge. Danny said that if we stick to our principles, the patterns of play will be consistent and therefore the results will be consistent too. I'm sure that will be the case. Obviously, Danny hasn't steered us wrong too much yet. So we have every faith in what Danny's saying. But just to sort of round it off and sum it up, Si, how would you sort of sum up that performance and that result against Barnet?
Like pulling your hair out at times. Purely because I've said it before, I have no doubt it's going to be something I'm going to come back to. We can play better. Some of our football intelligence is lacking, and we're now 6 games, 6 points, in exactly the same place we were this time last year. So it'll be interesting to see how we kick on.
Yeah.
Now, no, we can do better, and it's just so frustrating. And please, 2 wins. I need a haircut.
You're not going to end up like that lad from Man United, are you?
I'm not doing 5 in a row. Jesus, I look like Hagrid.
So there you have it. That is motivation for the youths to do that, isn't it? Get 2 wins on the bounce so I can get his haircut. Dave, how would you summarise the performance?
Needs to be braver. Needs to be braver in possession. Braver and just, they didn't back themselves. Every single player in that midfield can control a game. All 3 of them, 4 of them if you include Kate once the sub came off. So I think the message is, just commit to the system and how Danny wants you to play.
Yeah.
And if we do that, we'll see games out like that.
Yeah,
and we'll
100%.
Ideally, we'd also, whether it be when we are getting that initial phase of pressure that we seem very good at doing, or when we have the players on the pitch that can go on the counter in the second half, we'll get what we'll deserve. I'm not sure we deserve the win on Saturday. I do think a draw was fair, but if we'd have carried on, even for the second half of the first half, they got in and around our box, had a few chances, but I still think we had a semblance of control. But we gave that up. So just be braver.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it sort of goes back to what Jack Baldwin spoke about on Tuesday's episode, where he said that we've got lots and lots of players, particularly going forward in our squad, that could climb the ranks and climb the leagues. It's just about how they want to sort of engage their abilities and how far they are willing to go and willing to take it. And they've got 2 managers in the Cowleys that are keen to develop the team as players and individuals, and it's not as results driven as perhaps it is elsewhere. And our team's got a lot of opportunity to grow and develop. So I think we'll take this Barnet result as a positive. I do think we should have won it, but I do think the core principles are there, the foundations are there that can be built on, and hopefully with time, with consistency, we'll be looking at a fair few wins being strung together, home and away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't disagree.
Yeah, right. Guys, that has been Barnet. And just a little sort of nod to the viewers or listeners, we're meeting again this week to talk Crewe, because the transfer deadline will be shut in tomorrow.
Yeah.
At time of recording tomorrow, it's Sunday. So just to sort of break the fourth wall there. So, who knows who the U's will bring in and who the U's will get rid of.
Not such a get rid of. It might be have ripped from our grasp.
Ripped from our grasp.
Yeah, got rid of.
Si, Dave, it's been great chatting to you again, and I'll speak to you again later on in the week.
Cheers, guys.
Huge thank you to Si and Dave there for joining me and chatting all things Barnet. But Si joined us again. He took the reins this week and hosted the Opposition View. Si caught up with Stuart from the Railwaymen Podcast to see what he thought Crewe's chances were at the JobServe Community Stadium on Saturday. Hope you enjoy it.
Hello, and thank you kindly for joining me for this preview of the Crewe game. So it'll be a quick heads up as an Opposition fan, how you see it going, and anything of interest that for U's fans to look out for. So to kick off, how's your season going so far?
It's a strange question, because if you'd have asked us before Saturday, it would be a very different answer to now. We started the weekend top of the league, 4 wins out of 5. Lost the last one away at Gillingham, but there was a sense that it wasn't a bad loss. And what I mean by that is we lost 1-0. We hit the post and the bar 3 times. I think we were the better football team than Gillingham. I think they're very good at what they do. I wouldn't like to pay money to watch them do it every week. I think we were a better football team, but they have Gareth Ainsworth. They have some very experienced players. They knew what they're doing, and they won. Fair enough. Saturday's game against Swindon, there's no two ways, but we got absolutely battered 3-0 at home. And it wasn't the case that we played well and got unlucky. They dominated us all over the pitch from the first minute. And I think what I'm concerned with is, after the first 4 games, we were so good at Fleetwood. We were so good at home to Crawley. We played really well against Salford on the opening day. And the memory of the last half of last season, where we just fell away from automatic contention to playoff contention to even finishing 13th in the end, bottom half of the table. There was so many problems that I saw on Saturday against Swindon that were the same as last year, and I thought they'd gone. So in terms of how's the season going, it's sort of confusing, to be honest with you. I don't know. Top of the league after 5 games, 4th after 6. That's pretty good, but I'm concerned with issues that I thought had been addressed not being addressed.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Like you say, a bit like us, you hope for something to be rectified, and when it's not, you always have that worry about what's happening. So, looking forward to the game against Colchester, what players do you think the youth fans should look out for, and why?
Well, whenever we talk about Crewe, there's always academy players. And I think there's a couple. Again, they didn't particularly have very good games on Saturday, but Owen Lunt's been a bit of a revelation. He's an academy player that's come through, and we're not quite sure where he's going to play, what his best position is. Sort of midfielder, maybe, not sure. This year he's been playing just behind the striker. And what I would say about him is, the word that you would use to describe Owen Lunt is tenacious. He harries and he stops the defenders, or the deep line midfielder getting the ball and doing what they want with it, and he just charges around for 90 minutes, and that's great because it's someone providing all that energy. Didn't really see it on Saturday against Swindon. That's fine, everyone's allowed an off day, but he started the season really well. The play, I mean, there's no real point me mentioning him because he'll be away with the Welsh under-21s. Callum Aegis, again, young lad coming through the academy, scored twice already this season. One player that we've got on loan who, to be honest with you, he's too good for League Two. I'm not quite sure why Aston Villa have loaned him to us. He's a winger called Tommy O'Reilly. I think with him, he's quite raw. He's very young. His control is phenomenal. What he does with the ball, 9 times out of 10 is brilliant. There is still the 1 out of 10 because he's so young and he's getting used to men's football. So there's sometimes where you think, that's not what I'd do, but I don't have an ounce of the talent that this kid has got. So he's someone to watch out for. Yeah, and then, the classics, Mickey at the back, Mickey Dimitriou, PFA Team of the Year again. Still an absolute, he's become a legend in the 2 and a bit years that he's been at the club. Then Josh March. Josh March was someone we signed. I didn't really know anything about him. He was at Harrogate. I looked up his stats. He's a striker. He's not set the world on fire. And then the first 4 games of the season, he had 5 assists. He's only scored once, which, you'd expect a little bit more. But his work rate is phenomenal. So he's another one that works with Lund in tandem to really sort of harry the defenders and the deeper players for the opposition. So if everyone's on their game, it's a system that works really well. But as I've already said, didn't work on that well against Swindon on Saturday.
So you've tried and start pretty well against us. Everyone comes, and when we face teams that do tend to attack us, we do struggle a little bit because we leave ourselves open. And you say about your lone player, we had Jay McDonald last season, who was phenomenal now at Mansfield. And don't fall in love with a lone player, as they say.
Oh, we do it every year.
Oh no, it's a hope, isn't it? And they're too good for the league. So where do you think you guys will finish then? Also, I know it's been early days in the season, but looking forward,
who knows? Let's be honest. 2 years it looked like we were competing with Stockport and Wrexham. We fell away. We just about crawled into the playoffs. We did something remarkable at Doncaster in the semi-final, got to Wembley and got absolutely outclassed by Crawley. Last year, pretty much the same, but the fall away was even worse. Like I said, we finished 13th in the end. This year, I'm hoping that lessons have been learned and we can go the distance. The season started well. I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know. We could finish anywhere. Like at the start of the season, with the players that we lost and the players that we'd recruited, with our website that we run, everyone was asked to do a pre-season prediction. And I said, even at my best, and I tried to be a positive fan, I can't see us finishing any higher than 10th. So I wrote 10th. Then the season started. We won the first 4. And I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And now we've lost the last 2. So let's go with 10th. Let's stick with where I said at the start. That might be pessimistic because we'll be 4th, but I speak from years and years of experience of watching Crewe Alexandra.
That is a problem, isn't it? It's like I said earlier, it's the hope that kills you. And to be fair, I don't think you really get much of a clue until we get to the Christmas fixtures, when it's more table sort of starts sorting itself out and we see where we're going to be. So all that aside, what do you reckon the score's going to be on a Saturday then?
I had a little look at our record at Colchester because I had a feeling it wasn't very good for our podcast that we recorded earlier today. And it turns out we haven't won there in 10 years. Last year was 0-0, both home and away, including the game where we had 9,000 Crewe fans in for that special offer game. That was a real shame because all of these people come into Crewe possibly for the first time, or someone that doesn't go very often, and they got served up a 0-0 for their £10. To be honest with you, I think probably the same. We haven't scored now in 2 games. I don't think you're scoring many. You never really let many in. I'm gonna be really boring and say 0-0, and then it can only improve on that.
That's fair. To be fair, we'll take that as well. That's been brilliant. Thank you ever so much. Really appreciate your time. And yeah, let's see how Saturday goes.
No problem. Thank you.
Huge thank you to Si and Stuart there for catching up and giving us a little bit of an opposition preview ahead of the Crewe game. But of course, the opposition view isn't the only view that we are after. I joined up again with Si and Dave post-deadline day to see what their thoughts were ahead of the Crewe game. Hope you enjoy. Welcome back to Beyond the Barside. We are post Wycombe in the Virtue Trophy. The U's came out 2-1 winners away at Wycombe Wanderers. It was a nice little performance with a few brief cameos from some... they're not brief cameos, a few starting cameos.
The whole game, a lot of the cameos.
Yeah, the whole game. A lot of the... don't know why I said brief cameos. I think it's quite late in the day. A few starting roles for a few players that hadn't quite got the minutes in the league. They gave a really good account of themselves, and they're potentially giving Danny a bit of a headache ahead of Saturday's game at Crewe. We are going to be talking about Crewe, but just a brief summary of what you thought about the Wycombe game. Dave?
I thought it was a really good performance, thoroughly deserved. Jack Tucker goal machine.
Top goal scorer.
Yeah. So we tend to sign players the wrong way around, don't we? So good lift last year was a goal machine as well. Let's just switch it around and look for strikers who can score.
He assisted a few for Southend though, didn't he? Granted they're for Oldham, but did a good job. Si, what was your verdict?
No, it was very good. And to be fair, I think I mentioned it to you guys last night. It felt like a Danny Cowley side. We were sick. We pressed. We went right till the end. There was no let up in the intensity. Every player wanted the ball. Every player looked interested, looked lively. And yeah, it's very good. I think Danny's got some headaches for Saturday with selection in certain areas. And even to be fair to Edwards, obviously I know he's had his detractors over the last couple of weeks, but for his brief performance when he came on, I felt he looked a lot more lively, trying to take
the ball up himself, didn't he?
Yeah, cut back in and stuff. So maybe now the transfer window's closed, his future's been decided, he's going to come back to beat himself. So overall, very good performance. Tom Smith in goal, distribution is brilliant. The true professional, the way he's been sat on the bench all season to come in and play like he did. So
great save in the first half.
Yeah,
brilliant save.
Really good.
Yeah. I thought Jaden Williams, I don't think he'll start on Saturday, but I thought he did really well. You could see he's really You can see the development there. His movement for his goal. As soon as he saw that ball go back, he sort of stepped out, got in between the defenders, gets himself on side. Really good movement. And then you see him growing in confidence. I mean, there was a point in the second half in the corner where he sort of held off a defender, took on two more defenders, burst into the box. Could have got a penalty on another day. I think the guy did get the ball in the tackle, but he did well. But yeah, a lot of good performances. And obviously, your favourite, Si, young Harvey in the middle.
Yeah, but I think he did very well. And he always looks so assured when he comes on. Well, he obviously starts the game, but he always looks so like he belongs. I think is the best way to say it. There's no nerves from him or anything like that. He's just like, yeah, I'm here. This is my position. This is what I do, kind of thing. And yeah, no, it's really good. Even you go back to Williams, you could have had the one that Anderson, was it?
Yeah.
Pretty much, didn't it? And also Jack Tucker's goal. I think I've said it before again about Jack Tucker's other goal. This is what we need: players that are willing to shoot. Now that shot, yeah, okay, it's gone down as his goal, but that looks like yours.
It was an own goal.
But it's taken the deflection, it's gone in because the player is willing to get the ball and shoot and see what happens. And this is what we've been guilty of, definitely last season and the beginning of this season, not taking these chances. What is the worst that will happen? You miss. Well, if you don't shoot, you're guaranteed to miss. So do something. Parker's proved 2 goals now by doing just that. So, yeah, I know obviously it's the pizza trophy or whatever you want to call it nowadays, but you only play what's in front of you. They didn't make as many changes as we did, so they put quite a strong side out. And yeah, if this had been a league game, I think we'd have taken so much confidence from it going forward. So hopefully they can just build on what they've got, and the players that didn't play can see what pressure they're under with players that want their positions as well. So
the more minutes for Jack Payne. I thought Jack Payne looked almost back to full sharpness. I think he has in the last couple of games, to be honest. Almost there, but yeah, again, I was surprised he played because he's the one player you don't want to pick up a knock or something. But yeah, he was excellent. I think he's got real momentum now.
Yeah, but I think like you said there, that was minutes because he had a pre-season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you said there, mate.
Yeah, and obviously the Jack Baldwin Beyond the Barside Meets episode comes out that morning, and the feedback generally was that he sounds like a little bit of a leader and a positive person to have in the dressing room. He then starts the game in the evening as captain, makes it sort of sound like I've planned it, but it was just a happy coincidence. But Baldwin comes in, an assured defensive performance, and a heck of a ball in for Jaden Williams' goal as well.
Yeah, great ball. And it was good to see. We so earlier on in this pod, we were debating how to pronounce the young defender's name. We settled on Araujo, which is almost completely wrong based on what I heard on the clips. Araujo is what they were saying, but he looked good, strong, quick. I'd like him to do it more. There was one moment in the second half he burst forward, almost slipped Lisby in. I think Lisby was just offside. A lot of positives.
Definitely.
Too much, sorry, but I won't take too much what the commentator said last night because he also said that Jaden Williams was on loan from Spurs. So if that's how he pronounced it, maybe we should just go back to our version.
Do you see Sampson tweet about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, on it, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yes, it was a positive performance. Picking up from Saturday, obviously, I think we got the draw. I think we needed a win under our belts and give a few players some minutes as well. So I think in terms of an exercise for Danny and Nicky, as well as the squad, it was a successful one. I do think it gives him a little bit of a headache ahead of the Crewe game, but this week has been also the week of the transfer deadline, which was yesterday.
Yeah.
There were rumours of Jay Mingy. There were rumours of Britta Sombalonga, which could still happen because he is a free agent. But we ended up signing 18-year-old centre-forward Mika Mebic, perhaps. I mean, we said Araujo and we got that wrong, so who knows. From Charlton, looks like a tidy loan signing, has played a couple of first-team games for Charlton, including the playoff final. Some Charlton fans were surprised that he got a league move. They felt that he was a little bit too raw to play consistent league football, but he seems like an exciting talent, and hopefully he can hit the ground running with Colchester.
But to be fair, though, I get what the Charlton fans are saying, but you don't start a playoff final if there's nothing, if you haven't got anything about you, especially under Nathan Jones, who knows what he's looking for young players. And apparently, I don't know if any of you guys heard Danny talking after yesterday's game, but they've been after him for most of the summer. It was only when him and Nathan Jones got together and had a chat on deadline day that is then agreed to, Charlton were like, actually, we're happy for you to have him. We trust what you're going to do to develop him. And it was more the relationship between Danny and Nathan Jones that got him for this rather than anything else. So it's a plus point across the board. And hopefully he has the squad depth. And sorry, just backtracking one last thing about the Wycombe game. I do think it puts to bed a little bit of the argument about our squad depth, that we can have that many changes and still put a good performance in the way that Danny wants us to play.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point that you've just made there. Lots of people were critical of our depth and felt that we should have picked up more than just the one signing on deadline day. And as I say, the free agent market is still open, so we may well add to the squad if we feel we need to. But a lot of players came in having had very few minutes at the beginning of the season, and they've come in and put in an assured performance. I think you bang on there, Si. Dave, what are you thinking about the new lad coming in?
Well, I'm just glad we arranged our week around doing the Barnet game and then rearranging to do the preview so we could, give ourselves some time to digest and review and discuss all the new signings. But yeah, we got that striker in, looks all right. There we go.
6'3", apparently really fast, played in the playoffs. Job done. That is the new lad.
There we go. And probably worth saying, no outgoings. We were all sweating last week when, the rumours about Jack Payne having medicals wherever it was, Burton or something, and, whether Sampson and Awura would go. But, yeah, so maybe as importantly, no one out the door, retain the squad depth we do have. Obviously, you'd always want to add to it, but we didn't lose anyone. And, as we've already mentioned, 3 more years of the Cowleys. So, onwards we go.
Absolutely. And so obviously you wrote an article about the Cowleys being as good as any signing that we could have made, and that's in the Gazette, isn't it? So if anyone wants to read that, head over to the Gazette. But I think all in all, quite a good week, and we can look forward to the Crewe game with a little bit of optimism, although they absolutely battered Chesterfield last night, 7-1. They beat Salford 3-1. They beat Fleetwood 4-1, but then they did get beat 3-0 by Swindon. So they're a team that can score quite a few goals, but they are a team that can concede as well. I think it's going to be an interesting game. Dave, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's hard to know. I might be wrong. I think they might have lost their last 2 league games. Or is it just the one?
They lost in the Cup to Sheffield Wednesday.
Okay. But they're a team. They are a strong team. They started very well. I think we'll play a similar team to Barnet. Potentially, again, I say it every week. Maybe Gape comes in. But I don't know either way. One thing I think could be a bit of a curveball with Arujo, if that's what I'm saying that. Coming in, playing a full game last night, looking ready. I wonder, because he's quite quick as well. They did mention that he plays left side centre back or on the left. And I think Powell's done well. I like him. I'd like him to get forward more. But I think at times he's struggled a little bit with the physicality. And maybe a little bit of defensive naivety at times, which you're going to get when it's part of bringing on players like that and their development. There was a moment at Barnet, he lost the ball, and then followed the player all across the pitch to try and rectify his mistake, when really he should have just made sure he was back into shape, passed the man on, because Barnet just, experienced midfield, I don't know who it was, but sort of knocked it back to him, had it knocked back to him, and then just played it into the gap that Powell had left. Flanagan went out and got a good block, and sort of you could see him turn. He was at the other end of the pitch, and you could see him turn around and give him what he thought of that particular tactical decision. But no, so I think it's definitely an option if it's maybe not at the start, maybe at some point in the game, depending on how Crewe are attacking. I think that is one of the reasons that Arujo's been brought in because of his physicality and the fact he's got a left foot.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I think it doesn't hurt to give Powell a little bit of time to rest and come back and fight for his place. You don't want to.
He's not done badly at all.
No, not at all.
I've been impressed with him. Really like him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just that in some games, that physicality.
Yeah. Well, and also, I remember thinking back to an interview that Colchester did with Owen Goodman when he was on loan. We were midway through September and he'd played, I think it was like nearly 9 games. And in order for him to play that many games, it would have been Christmas for the under-21s. So the senior games come thick and fast, and it is a big difference when you make that step up from 21s football. So, he may have to get used to the sort of structure and the scheduling that comes with playing in League Two. So I don't think it's a bad thing at all to suggest that Araujo comes in and has potential to claim a space at left back. But Si, you've also got a tactical change that you'd make that is potentially a bit more controversial than Dave's. Do you want to talk us through it?
This is a hill I think I'm going to die on the season because nobody believes me, but I generally do think it's going to work, which means they'll probably do it once, it'll fail miserably.
You'll get battered 8-0.
That doesn't sound like us, does it? So we can't, after the performance against Wickham, Baldwin has obviously got to have been now on B. Denny's radar. He has not come into this team or this squad not to play games. So if you're going to go to the 2 centre backs, you're not going to drop the captain. That's a given, no matter what people think about Flanagan. He's on the team sheet, which is injured. So that obviously then leaves Tucker. Now you're not going to drop the top goal scorer. So unless you then want to start going to 3 at the back, which completely changes the whole dynamic of the team, I think will massively unsettle us. Who do we then look to replace Baldwin? Is Baldwin Tucker shot's the one that's more logical. So then what do we do with Tucker? Well, let's push Tucker into the defensive midfield where he covered for the god that was Jay McDonald last season. And then allow him a bit more freedom to push forward while at the same time knowing he can do the defensive work to screen the defence. And I just think he'll bring more of his attacking influence into the game while at the same time having the confidence for him to screen the defence to let Reed or Bishop roam more in that 8, feeding Jack Payne to then feed the wingers or feed whoever is number 9. And it would work a bit more fluidity, I think, with how we're playing football rather than trying to get Bishop and Reed together in midfield, which we've spoken about numerous times. Will it happen? Probably not. Would I like to see it happen? Definitely.
We know that.
I think it's one of these. Everyone's got opinions in football. This is the one that if it was me, I'd be looking to implement it, at least try.
I just think Tucker is excelling in defence, and I think that's his natural position. So I put someone where they're most comfortable and they're performing to it. I think he's been our best player this year so far. I don't think many people would disagree with me on that. And then you've got Gabe in the midfield, who's now played a full 90. We haven't really seen the best of him yet. He did well last night. I thought kept the game ticking over well. So I don't disagree that he could do it. I think Tucker's certainly got the ability to do it. But I just think you lose who has been our best player playing his best football in his best position if you do that. And I don't think like we mentioned earlier, the squad depth isn't as thin as people think. So I don't see why we need to move our major pieces around.
I think it's just a tough one because of who we've got. Strangely, we've had so many seasons of being not actually that good defensively. Now we've probably got the best set of defenders we've had, and we can't fit them all bloody in the team.
It's like a bus, isn't it? You want one and three come along at once. So
I would be interested about starting if you decide to start both Aurora and Lisby together.
yeah, so I was speaking about that today actually. Kyrie's Lisby is making more and more of a sort of reason for him to start the game, but he has sort of been preferred through the middle, and you're not dropping Jack Payne. But he started out wide. He had a decent game out wide. I do wonder whether he can start playing out on the wing and we utilise him in a way that he was used at Brentford. But I don't know. I think Kyrie's on the right and Aurora on the left might be a shout.
He's definitely pushing. I mean, was it 2-3 weeks ago? We had the conversation. Is he ready? And we all sort of agreed that he, at the moment, he's a finisher. He's producing as a disruptor towards the end of the game, and I still think that probably is his role at the moment. But he's definitely pushing for that starting role. And last night he looked really sharp. Had a couple of good runs. Had a couple of burst past the defender a couple of times. I don't know why they went about 15 yellow cards for Wickham last night. They kicked absolute lumps out of Jack Payne. Rugby tackled him at times. But no,
Fivedale's referee, wasn't it?
Yeah, the guy. He's the one who squared up to Alan Judge.
Yeah.
All those years ago, made the papers, which I can understand.
Something you wanted to do a few times, in it, Dave?
A fair few times. Anyway, that's another pod. That's a bonus pod. But he's definitely pushing, and now it wouldn't surprise. 3 weeks ago, it would have surprised me if he started, just because of the impact he was having, and just his development in the squad. But now it would not surprise me if he starts against a team who can score relatively freely, like Crewe can. Would he want that solidity in the first half or first 60 minutes of Anderson on the right? I think he probably will do that. And the fact that Lisby played the full 90 last night means I don't think he'll start on. But he's definitely pushing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. So we play Crewe. Obviously, they are quite a high scoring side. They have had games where they've conceded quite a few as well. Si, how do you think we're going to fare against a half decent Crewe team?
I think we'll be all right. Generally, do think we've had a little bit of a blip, obviously, but when we click, we can play against good teams, and we do play better against good teams, especially those that like to attack, so open up the space for us to exploit. I think if we can keep everyone fit for the next couple of days, when we start Saturday, we've got our strongest 11 to put out. I think we'll definitely give them a game. Also, I know that if everyone goes to score 1-1, that seems to be the default score for us at the moment. But I would like to think that we will have enough defensively to hold them back, and enough going forward to be a goal to the better, so to speak.
I think definitely from the performance on Tuesday as well, there's reason to feel optimistic. Dave, what are you thinking?
No, I'm optimistic. The first 20 minutes at Barnet, and the fact that Danny was so vocal about the mentality shift in the second half to the detriment of the team. And you could see that influence and last night, I think, in how we approached the Wickham game, how the players approached it. And, as disappointing as Barrow was, like we said, we made 6 clear chances. Continue to do that at some point. I say that, touch wood, at some point, it's going to click. Going forward, hopefully Aurura's head is back with us, and he can start producing. We've spoken about Lisby. So yeah, I think, and Jack Payne looked so sharp last night. and against Barnet on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And I think he's going to have, hopefully it's Saturday, he's going to have a game where he just absolutely rips it up. Couple of assists, couple of goals. So yeah, it's coming. So yeah, I think it can be one of those games. And you're right, Si. It's I'm 43 years old, so 37 years I've been going to CoU. We've always been, apart from that season, that promotion season at the Championship, we've always been beat the good teams, poor and a frustrating follow-up performance against teams you expect to beat.
Yeah.
So hopefully that carries through this weekend as well. And I can either see us scraping a 1-0 or getting a 3 or 4-1 win. I really can, because it's going to click at some point.
I love the positivity that you two are coming in with this week.
Because you started off going, we've got Crewe coming up, and then listen to they're like the fact they've been spanking teams left, right, and centre. So we've got to try and bring the positivity back to the pod.
Excuse me for doing my research. I've got to put the stats out there. XGs, XPs, 3-1s. Everything that they've done, I'm putting out there.
But it's the classic football supporter approach to performances of competition. So obviously us winning last night in the Virtue shows the direction we're going. It's really positive. Obviously them winning 7-1 in the Virtue means it doesn't really matter. It's just the Virtue.
Yeah.
So
it's probably a weak side anyway.
That's how we'll view it.
Yeah, fair enough. So I like it. We're feeling positive about the Crewe game. I also think we're going to get a result. Si hopes that Jack Tucker moves into the midfield and Jack Baldwin moves into the centre-back position. Dave thinks that Harvey Araujo comes in at left-back. I'm going to keep getting his name wrong. And I think that Tim Foley is going to play up front. So between us, we've all got a theory for what is going to happen. I
think two of those are more likely than one.
Yeah. Well, there was rumours he was at the Barnet game.
I was going to ask actually, has that been corroborated?
I also heard that Britta Sombalonga was there, and
Giovanni Brown was. Giovanni Brown was there.
Huh?
Giovanni Brown was there.
I don't know what you're saying, so it keeps cutting off.
Who?
I think we can all guarantee that it is going to happen on Saturday. Jay Mingy's going to score.
Oh yeah,
Jay Mingy's going to score a hat trick.
Yeah.
Although we said that about Luke Hannon, did nothing. We said that about Anthony Scully, did nothing.
Yeah, but those, and again,
Jay Mingy doesn't scare me, mate.
I like this positivity from you, Aaron, on the flip side, but those two players you mentioned were not, I'm going to say it, were not good. I thought Scully could have been good, but we never got to see it. Hannon was garbage. Mingy was good.
Hannon was cuss.
As well?
He wasn't garbage. He was average. I don't know about garbage.
He scored that goal against Doncaster.
And the one against Ipswich.
And the one against Ipswich.
Okay, which was, all right. Okay, fair enough, he scored. I think any three of us could have scored that. But yeah, but Mingy was good. And when I saw, are we in for Mingy? He'd have been absolutely ideal in the middle, wouldn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But same bit in there, because Crewe have got a good player there. Hopefully he's not match fit yet. And he'll play a game for their under 23s on Friday night or something, so he can't play on Saturday. I don't know.
To be fair, if we've gone in for him, he's probably injured. So
yeah.
That's why I didn't come in.
He's in good nick, so he can't come to the Colchester. Sorry, mate. You've passed your medical. You're going to have to go back.
Yeah. Past medical is a failed medical.
Guys, I think I'll call that a pod. That has been a nice little preview for the Crewe game, although I don't think I know where I'm at even now after talking about it for 20 minutes, but I think it'll be a good game all the same. Si, Dave, lovely to chat to you again, and we'll speak again next week.
Cheers, guys.
So there you have it. That is episode number 11 of the Beyond the Barside podcast. A big thank you to Si, Dave and Stuart for joining us this week. If you like what you are watching or listening to, please feel free to share or give a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. It creeps us up the table a little bit, and it put us above Ipswich at some point, but we haven't done that recently, and I'd like to regain control. Also, there is a link in our episode description because our mate Si is running the Dublin Marathon and he is fundraising for a very worthy cause. Check that out in the episode description. It will be in there across all platforms, and I will see you next week. Thank you very much.